Hi, everyone. As always, let us know where you are in the comments below. Grab a cup of coffee, grab tea, whatever is available, because today we have another episode of our Next Stand Chats. So if you're not familiar with this, then I'm your Next Stand gal, Nicole, and every month I sit down with fellow successful remote entrepreneurs to learn everything I can about turning this very travel-y lifestyle into success. And a key factor of that success is having the right work setup, of course. So if you have aches and pains in your neck, and by the end of the day you're just feeling rubbish, then a total game changer for this is the latest Next Stand K1. It's the world's first carbon fiber laptop stand, and honestly, guys, it's the lightest one I've experienced. Like the K2 is very good also, but if you want just like super light, lighter than anything, then this is your one. I mean, I have to put a lot of my life into 23 kilograms a lot of the time, so anything that's lighter than my skincare is like a winner.
I love that.
That's basically my priorities. So we ship everywhere. So just go to the link in the bio and get yours today. And so, enough self promo. I'm super excited today to introduce our guest, which is Annie Huang. She's the founder of my new favorite podcast, The Aspiring CMO.
Thank you.
And she's just a general SEO marketing queen and just organization wizard. We're going to learn so much from her today. And if you need some real organization skills in your life, then keep listening. So, hi, Annie. Hi.
Hi, Nicole. Oh my God, I'm so happy I'm on Next Stand. Like I've been watching your lives and now I'm here. That's crazy.
It's so funny because I've been watching your like podcast and I've been
That's great.
so where are you based right now?
So I'm in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, and I'm gonna stay here until the end of the year, and then I'm going to Ho Chi Minh City.
Nice, nice. And I know that it's been like a super busy few weeks in Chiang Mai as well with conferences. And I know you've been super busy. So are you gonna take it a bit easier now? Are you relaxing a bit?
No, I don't know if I can because, after the conference, there's like a lot of like follow up work. And I mean, not work, but I really enjoy meeting people and like making connections with people. And I don't know, this was my first Chiang Mai SEO conference. So I do want to like follow up with the people I met. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so in a nutshell, because I know you do so much, in a nutshell, can you describe to our audience what you do?
Okay. I'm a little bit of everything, I guess. Like, I'm in general, I'm a marketer and I coordinate projects. So at my company, they call me a project manager, but I consider myself more like a marketing manager because everything comes down to either marketing or like operations for a marketing company. So again, it's like kind of a mix. And I also have a podcast because I just love to make connections. And I know like today's topic is going to be like how to network and stuff. So the Aspiring CMO is pretty much my MBA program. When you are too broke to do MBA, you just should just start a podcast, invite a bunch of people who are smarter than you, and then that's your lesson. That's your lesson plan right there. So initially that I came up with the name because it I don't know, I was having a jet lag. So I think it's like remote work and jet lag is almost like go hand in hand because we travel a lot. So I was jet lagged one day and I woke up and I say, what if I just start something called the Aspiring CMO? Because I want to become a chief marketing officer one day. And I checked the name on Namecheap, like a domain name hosting platform, and it was like $10 a year. So I immediately bought the domain. So before even having any plan, any podcast, any channel, I was like, I'm just gonna buy the name. That
Mhm.
it's mine now. Yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
And now you have the Instagram as well, and
Yes.
Spotify and Apple as well.
Yes. I'm on
Mhm.
every single podcasting platform because once you like go on a hosting plan, they can just distribute it to other host podcast directories. Yeah.
Nice. And oh, you also organize the SEO Summit event as well,
Yes.
right? Yeah, yeah, and that's once a year.
Yeah, we have a big SEO conference in Ho Chi Minh City, which is where I am. Like that's one of the main things I do. It's a 400 people SEO conference for SEOs and online entrepreneurs. And it's just like a big party, honestly. It's like a 1 week party in Ho Chi Minh with presentations and, of course, some after parties. And
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, this is what I love about what these conferences. I definitely experience the party side of them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they're really useful in terms of like presentation, but sometimes you learn so much on like a regular, like a random meetup that happens
Mhm.
around the conference, or you learn more during partying with somebody else.
Yeah, I actually get more value from like the social side because people are like way more relaxed and you get to kind of meet people in a much more natural setting, and there's not so much like networky. It's just like very natural to kind of meet people that way. Okay, so because you have so much on, if you had any superpower to make your work life easier, what would it be?
I thought about this, and obviously, everybody wants their weakness to be their superpower. So, my superpower would be like I would be extremely smart. Like, I just read one line and I remember it, kind of like, we always
Oh,
have those
photographic
people in.
memory.
Yeah,
Hmm.
photographic memory, or how you call it. Like I don't know. That's very specific, but I just know people who like, oh, I read this web page, I understand it now, and I'm like, I don't. I literally don't, and I just want that to be my superpower. Yeah,
Yeah, I need to read stuff like 3 or 4 times for it to really sink in.
yeah.
I go over stuff a lot. And so, like, how did you sort of get into this kind of like remote marketing lifestyle then? Did you start off in an office job? Like, what was your journey and what did that look like?
It started. Oh, thank you for the first question. I love this type of questions because I think everybody's journey is very different. I started out as a office girl in the government. So
Wow.
I was because I'm Hungarian Vietnamese, so I look Vietnamese, but I was born raised in Hungary, and I learned English as a third or second language. So I speak languages. So that was the only thing that stood out. And when I started college, I wanted to have a part time job, and I was like, it would be so sick to just work in the government because why not? At the time, I was like, why not just put that on my CV?
When you said I started off in the government, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why not? I didn't even think about like marketing or industry. They're just like government. So I was an interpreter and like admin at the Hungarian consulate in Ho Chi Minh City for like 3 years throughout my college life. And it was really good to get me into things like systems because governments operate, it's just an operational office, right? Like they just take papers in, they review some papers, and then they spit out new papers. So that's what every government does. And sometimes the paper is a document or money, whatever, or an application form, but essentially it's just the same thing over and over again. So I got into that loop, but I knew that as I went into college, I was like, this government job, I can do this for the rest of my life because it's always the same.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I can only get a promotion if somebody above me retires.
Mm, yeah, so it's like the long game.
It's super long. They call it the stable job, but honestly, like I think COVID was the time that showed us that the stable jobs are no longer stable anymore.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
You have to like make your own
hmm
way a lot of the time, I think, since COVID anyway. It was like a jolt.
So I fell into that as well because when I got out of college, I graduated from college. It was during COVID, so my graduation got delayed, and I also I was applying for jobs before the COVID got very serious. So by the time I got in my new job, we went online.
Mm.
So it was a great transition because I was in the office all the time. I always showed up at work on time. So there's like like a regular people stress, like, oh, can I make it to my work on time? Uh, but ever since I've been working online, that's no longer the case. It's just like,
No.
can you log in? Can you please
You don't
log
even have,
into this
yeah, you
email?
don't have to like, you don't have the pressure of putting makeup on to make sure you don't look tired. You don't have to commute. Like, yeah, no, it's amazing. Like, it takes out at least an hour to 2 hours of your day easily.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So you can doom scroll on Instagram now. So for an extra 2 hours a day. Just kidding. No, no. um, but yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Time management.
Mhm.
No, okay. When I so during college, I was like, okay, if this government thing it doesn't not gonna work out, what am I gonna do?
Mm.
And wait, there's a plane.
You know, whereas I'm in Vietnam at the moment, so there's construction work everywhere.
I cannot hear it though.
Okay, that's good because I can hear it out my window, and I'm like, I please hope that's not.
No. Or maybe Riverside is very good at canceling these things, but I just stop.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
So I started my marketing job during COVID, and I already knew I wanted to do marketing by the end of college. But the problem was I didn't have any marketing experience, and I really deeply wanted to do marketing. So it was like a big contrast. Like I don't know much, but I know what I want to do. And I was a volunteer for my Toastmasters club for 2 years, and that's where I gained my first initial like marketing skills. I was doing stuff like, you know, Facebook fan page management. I was
Hmm.
making like Canva posts. I was like, so that's how I got into like the
Yeah.
regular posting. So nowadays for me, posting regularly is just like another. It's
Hmm.
easy.
Mm.
And we also, in a public speaking club, we also learned how to do like interviews like this, how to present yourself. So I got more confident in terms of, I guess, the creative sides of marketing, like how to present yourself, how to make things look pretty, how to be consistent on social. So that was I guess, my first portfolio to get my job.
Hmm.
And then my first job is, I guess, is the, I don't know, sparkling point, or like a, how you call that, like breaking point,
Oh, like
where
a watershed moment,
I think so,
breakthrough.
a breakthrough moment where like this first job want to define what I'm gonna do for the rest of the couple of years, and I've been doing the same thing
Mm.
but at scale. So at my first job, it was such a small company that I became the one person marketing department.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was doing everything,
I think that's like the best
everything.
way, though, right? It's the best way to learn.
Right, but it was extremely stressful.
Yeah.
Plus COVID, so it's like
Hmm.
I'm grateful for the things I've learned. Did I help the company overall? Maybe a little bit, but not too much.
Hmm.
Because when you are the one person department, you cannot do that much.
No, you're spread too thin. Like that's one of the
Yeah.
things is like if when you're trying to do like 100 things, like when you're trying to be amazing at 100 things, you just end up being like I find anyway being average across the board because it's just too when you're just one person, it's too it's too much. You need to outsource and recruit.
Yeah, I did not know the recruitment part. So now I'm at the point where, like, okay, I see which part of the department or team I need to hire or something. But at the time, I was like, what, 21 or something?
Yeah.
So I did not think about that. I was like, oh, how can I get the most things out of my day? So I
Mm-hmm.
got into like time management stuff, productivity, like every single mini optimization on my day so I can bring the best out of my work day. So I do think of myself like really, I don't know, like I always aim for efficiency, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. I'm not an expert or anything, but like I always think
I
like,
think
okay,
you're
what
an
is the,
expert.
I
I
don't
always
know. I
think
don't think
you're
so.
killing it.
It's like, how can I bring 80% out of me with doing the least I can? So
That's perfect. That's honestly, yeah, that's like the takeaway is how to get the most out of the least effort, I think.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
And it would be it's surprising. People think like, oh, I need to hire 5 people to get the most out of things. But sometimes if you just start by optimizing yourself first, you
Yeah.
will realize what are the things you need to delegate. So a lot of people start hiring before becoming efficient themselves, and
Mm.
that the whole team becomes very inefficient.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Hmm.
So this is what I see in my current company. So um, I guess they hired me as project manager because everybody around me was inefficient.
Hmm.
and I can always trace back where does that inefficiency come from,
Uh-huh. And
and it's
where?
usually the leader.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, either the leader or the person he or she trusted to be the second, leader.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you, yeah, I can see how that can work actually. Because if you aren't efficient yourself at different things, then you don't know what you're good at and you don't know what you're bad at, then it makes hiring so much harder. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it also comes into like maybe you are too nice to people, so you end up hiring everyone. That's
Yeah.
also not, but that's also not efficient, right? But just like task and workflows, you don't think about that until you have three people around you.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been thinking about that because I always been considering myself as more than two people.
That's
It's
really cool. Yeah, because I that
weird.
took me
It's
like
weird.
it took me such a long time to come to that realization because I was always like I was the same as you for such a long time, just like a one woman marketing, and I thought that you had to do everything. I didn't like because I was again like I had like one job. I was like new to marketing. That was my first marketing job. I thought that like to be like super successful, I had to do every single thing and it had to be just me that did it. And if I hired someone else, that was like a sign of weakness or like just like something like that. Or, losing money if you're hiring more people. But actually, what I've realized in the past like few weeks, especially, is that you can only grow when you scale up and when you hire more people and when you kind of can, yeah, do it effectively.
Yeah, and sometimes I have this weird way of thinking. Like, I put myself in a mindset of a person. So let's say I am running my own YouTube channel right now. Uh, I know I will have to hire someone, and I'm starting to recruit. But before that, when I just started the process, I would be thinking, okay, now Annie is the actress. Annie is just talking in front of the camera. So
Okay.
that's my job.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, Annie is now the project manager again because I need to organize all the files. And then Annie becomes a graphic designer
Oh my
because Annie is doing thumbnails.
yeah.
So like once you think like that, it's
Throughout
going to be
throughout
easier
the
to.
day, literally throughout the day, you're like, you basically are a team, and you're like, in the morning, I'm in this department, and then by lunchtime, now I'm in this department. And I said goodbye to that department.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's how I think of my workflows. And once I think of something to be hired for, then that's what I outsource.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And so yeah. So I suppose at what point do you decide to hire someone though? Is it when you sort of realize that there's something that you don't have time for, or there's something that you're not as efficient at, so you need someone who's skilled? Like, what kind of is the trigger for you to hire someone?
It usually comes down to like for small creators, so somebody who is like a one person team, it usually comes down to budget. Like
Mhm.
usually the thing that needs to be outsourced to is the thing that takes you the longest time.
Mm.
So for example, video editing, so you have to think of a budget first. But I think in a company, when it's you use the CEO's money, you have
Mm.
to justify again based on budget and time, and usually the budget and time comes together. But I think Mads has a very good tip what to delegate. I think I created that post for him. What are the three things you need to delegate? Number one, the things that you are suck at, like you're just really really bad
Yeah.
at. If you're extremely bad at graphic design, don't try to learn it. Don't.
Hmm.
The things that takes the longest time, um or the things that is easy to do.
Yeah. So
So
like
yeah,
repetitive stuff, the
yeah,
stuff
the
that can
repetitive
be.
stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think these three things are a good start. Things that takes, yeah, I think those are.
Yeah, yeah, I relate to that. Like I've realized that I have an aesthetic eye, but I'm not a designer. So I can like tell if something looks good, but I'm not a graphics designer. So it's instead of it, I spent a while like trying to learn things, but actually it's just easier just hiring someone who already has that skill set, and you can just kind of guide them in that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And so, like a lot of recruiting, it comes down to networking as well, and a lot of meeting people. So, since you've gone to a remote kind of working environment, Do you find that networking is a lot easier now, or does it come with a different set of challenges?
Ooh, I love this question. I love this because people think that because you are working from home, networking will become a lot difficult. And I would say it's not. So networking is all about you wanting to help other people. So you will find a way if you understand that type of mindset. A lot of people network through Facebook groups. Actually, you become like, Facebook has this feature where you become like some expert in the group. Or um, some people like me start a podcast, and starting a podcast doesn't take much. You don't have to commute to anyone anywhere. You can call up a person from the other side of the world and make a connection, and you can still see each other face to face. And so I would say like networking is only easy if you have the mindset of like you wanting to help other people and you wanting to learn. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people come to my networking from a very selfish point of view, saying
Mm.
like how can I benefit from talking to Nicole, or like how can I benefit from this or that person, but that doesn't take you far.
No,
Yeah.
and I think it's like very obvious as well. Like when I've been at like certain like networking events, you can always it's almost it comes off actually quite awkward when someone's kind of very you can tell their only purpose is to just get what they can out of a situation. Whereas like I'm so, like the same as you, like when I go into like any sort of like networking event, I don't even think of it as like a networking event because I actually hate networking. Like I hate like the
Okay.
professional kind of like networking. I see it as more just like I'm meeting people and I get to know people. And if there's something I can do for them, if there's something they can do for me, then it just happens. I have like a much more kind of like natural kind of social approach to it.
Yeah, I think I love that too. And sometimes when people get intimidated by the word networking, I
Mm,
would also tell them, and I told 100 something people last time I was featured on another live stream. It was pretty amazing. But what I told those people, they are that look at networking as a way of making friends.
yeah.
Like imagine yourself being in the playground and being 4 to 6 years old.
Mm,
Like you're doing the exact same thing when you're 4 year old.
mm-hmm.
You go there like, hey, you're 5, I'm 4. Let's become best friends. And you just spend the whole day like playing together, right? So
Yeah.
that's what adults do. They just need some wine.
Yeah.
They just need some alcohol. But honestly, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally right. Apart from the daytime events.
Yes. I mean, sometimes you start drinking, at noon. It's okay.
Yeah, it definitely helps blur. It definitely helps blurring it. Like, cause I used to, I remember when I was at university, I used to get so, cause in my course they used to encourage like networking if you ever like met with like professionals. And as like a 19-year-old, I was so intimidated by just the word networking because like you already have so much like social anxiety anyway. But like to be told that like you have to go into a situation with a purpose and with this and with, oh, it's very intimidating. So, but then I realized as I got older with a lot more confidence and stuff that things just if you go into it not even thinking of it like that, just think of it as just like for instance like DC or like the SEO conference, I imagine, well the DC one especially, like it just feels like you're seeing friends. It's like not, there's no pitching, it's just like you just meet people naturally and things kind of transpire from there. And if you have stuff in common, then obviously then as in like marketing stuff in common, like you can always help each other.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making friends and helping each other. That's it. Like that's what network. I think during a university we also had a event, or I think a club that was like specialized in like networking. It
Mhm.
lasted a year, so it wasn't like a long club. But I also didn't understand the concept of networking. But I
Mm,
was always friendly with everyone,
mm.
so it seemed like I was good at it. But
Yeah.
I was just genuinely very naive and friendly. And
Yeah, no,
then
yeah, that's
that
it.
went
Yeah,
a long
I
way.
didn't realize. I didn't realize I was actually good at networking until like maybe last year because I suddenly looked back on like different like roles and different sort of like work relationships I had, and I thought, oh, that's from networking. That is actually networking. Wow,
Yeah.
network.
Yes.
Since you work, are you a co-working gal or a home office gal?
I'm a co-working gal. I love it.
Mhm.
It depends on the country, I think. In Thailand, I find co-working a lot more easier. In
Mhm.
Vietnam, I think co-working means going to coffee shops
Yeah.
because coffee shops are so good in Vietnam. But
Hmm.
in Western countries, I don't know. I don't know if I do a lot of co-working. I will
Yeah.
still just find a coffee shop. But yeah,
Yeah. I prefer coffee shops too. In Europe, I think it's because all the cafes close quite early and they're not like set up properly really for like work.
yeah,
Whereas in Vietnam, they're open till like 10 p.m. at night. It's amazing. You can just stay in there all day.
yeah. They also have 24-hour coffee shops in
Yeah.
Vietnam, so I don't
Oh,
even kick you
really?
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And so when you are working, I know that we're sending, well, I think you have a next stand on the way going to Ho Chi
Thank
Minh, so you'll be
you.
able to pick it up soon.
Yes.
But until then, do you have any struggles or aches while working? Obviously, we're going to fix that if you do.
Wow, I think my back. So like what my hack is, I put the pillow behind my back, so I sit a little up straight. But I found it with like a laptop stand. Once you have a laptop stand, that means you need other accessories as well. So if
Ah,
you have a laptop stand, right, you need to have keyboard if you're
yes.
using a laptop. And so it's like I guess with accessories and especially when you're traveling, you have to be very smart. And I'm happy you mentioned that neck stand is very light because I
Mm.
also have to fit my whole life into just 23 kg. So I totally understand that. So yeah, like the weight is very important. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it honestly is like super light. Like I unwrapped it and yeah, super light.
Hmm.
So with such like a diverse, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but with like such a diverse set of responsibilities that you have, how do you manage your time? Like, what does your day to day look like? I think your day to day changes all the time, but
Yeah, like Rinko, please. I'm very curious how yours is as well because you travel, I think, a little bit more than me. Do you? Like
maybe
you?
I think yeah, maybe every month it's like a new place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. So, how does my day to day look like? It's very difficult, different right now. So I have a job that requires me to be online for certain hours a day. So that means during the morning and late night, I'm working. So
Mm,
that means I'm waking up quite late, uh, and then I do some exercise. By the time I finish exercise, that's lunchtime. I start a little work. I work on my own projects, and then I get back to the office. I guess like the agency work.
hmm.
So I kind of like I have blocks. I use time blocks a lot,
Oh,
and if people listen to this, I think the takeaway is use Google Calendar
mm,
because I think it's very accessible. Yeah,
yeah, it's free as well.
and it's free. You can share calendars. So the reason why I use Google Calendar, not my Apple Calendar, is because I share my calendar with my boyfriend, so we can kind of like plan our days together. It's pretty
Mhm.
nice. Um, yeah, and if you, I don't know, I use some project management tools. I'm a Notion girl, so I've been using Notion for the past ever since I've been working online. Actually, yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
I actually haven't used Notion. I've just started using ClickUp, and I've always used like Asana as well. But I'm
Oh,
actually I haven't used Notion.
okay, and then I don't recommend you to switch because if you're already using Asana and ClickUp, they're kind of like Notion.
Hmm.
The Notion is I don't know. I'm just used to it, and I like ClickUp as well. So I think it's because over the how many months my company couldn't figure out ClickUp, I was just like, you know what? Let me just do this Notion.
Is ClickUp quite hard to use? Do you think?
I don't think so. It's just that. Uh, it's a small company, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you could use both at the same time. Like
Hmm.
some people use Notion as a like a wiki for your company.
As
So
a
like you store all of your SOPs, you
oh
store
yeah
all
yeah
your
yeah
terms. Like
yeah yeah. You
if
put
you
all the
use like
data
funky terms in the company, what does this and that
in
mean?
there.
Translate it into human language, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so because you have your own stuff going on and then you also work for a company, I think this is definitely one of the things a lot of people who are starting off in entrepreneurship especially struggle with. Um, do you find that you have like quite a good balance with that, or do you ever feel yourself like you want to work more on your stuff or you want to work more on the company stuff sometimes? And how do you kind of like balance that?
Thank you, because I'm already like 1 month into this new routine. But
Hmm.
I can share what I learned in this month, because um, it's a it's not an easy journey. You have to be very efficient with your time. So for me to always balance multiple stuff was kind of what I've been doing. Like I was
Hmm.
also a freelancer like you, so that means I handled multiple clients at the same time. So I kind of just consider myself and my job as different clients.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, and but because it's my stuff, of course my stuff wanna come first.
Hmm.
Which But in order to succeed at that, I have to be good at my job. So
Yeah.
it's always like a you have to be good, but in your company you have to draw straight boundaries.
Hmm.
So this is when boundaries come into play, because if you overwork at your work, and let's say you
Hmm.
get a little bit more money but you burn out and you cannot do
Hmm.
your project, that's not good,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Or
Hmm.
if you work too little at your company, they fire you.
Then you don't have any money to start anything else.
So it's again, like it's always about balance. And I think working on communication, of course, in a remote environment is extremely important to
Hmm.
say that, hey, I was late, but it wasn't my intention to be late. If
Hmm.
that's the case, then explain what's happening. Always like have a good intention behind everything you do. So um sometimes yeah, I think we all make mistakes, and if the mistakes come from a good intention, then you are forgivable.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely. And what advice would you give for other people who need to kind of set boundaries with their bosses, maybe? Because I know friends and stuff who just work around the clock. Because I think one of the problems with remote work is that you have your laptop glued to you the whole time, so it's very easy to just like check in on things. And so yeah, so what kind of advice would you give to other people to set boundaries?
Oh, time blocking. So but I do the same thing, right? I travel with my laptop all the time, but during X and X hour, I am not opening my Notion, or not Notion, my Slack for my
Mhm.
company.
Yeah.
When I sleep. Like I literally Slack is really great. Like it tells the other person what time is it in their time zone.
Yeah.
So if your bosses keep messaging you when it's like 2 a.m. your time, you
Hmm.
can you need to speak up and say, this is not okay. This is going to make my work a lot more inefficient, and that is going to be really bad for you.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
always have this thinking, like, how is that bad for the other person, even though it's for me. But
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
whenever I want something, I always frame it so that the other person feels it's beneficial for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything you do,
And we also,
anything, it's always have to be somehow beneficial to the other person. So um but remote work is so much, I guess, better that way, because like most of the things come in like a written form,
yeah.
so you can prepare the notes and send it
Yeah,
rather than like facing your
yeah.
boss face to face, like, hey, it's not
Mhm.
okay. Now most people won't do it.
And also there's you can like always like put your notifications as silent throughout certain times as well. Like I know we do that at the company because we have people across like the whole time zone. And so I know that like if I'm messaging someone, I know that they've got their notifications off anyway. So they won't actually receive it at like a weird time.
Hmm.
One thing I also do is I actually don't keep live notifications on my phone for Slack. I only keep Slack on my desktop so that
Okay.
yeah, because I'm always on my laptop anyway when I'm working. So if I'm like not on my laptop, then I can't like nothing's gonna come through on my phone either. And if someone really needs me, they can get me on WhatsApp. That's kind of my method.
Yeah. I think it's a great tip as well. um Anything really, because it's a remote work. Like honestly, nothing is as urgent. Like I think it's like some stoicism right there. Like the worst case scenario is never as bad as we think it is.
No, it's so
It's
true.
remote
Yeah.
work. Like, come on, it's like sending a file. Like, remember when I told you, like in the government, like what they
Yeah.
do is just paper in, paper out.
Hmm.
Think of yourself as you are just a Google document in and a Google document out.
Yeah, yeah. No, no one's gonna die in the moment.
Exactly. Like our work is so lucky that way. I'm also very thankful every single day. If anybody wants to like level up their like mental health here, I do journaling almost every day and writing down my what I'm grateful for. And I'm
Mm,
super grateful for working online in a position that doesn't save any life
yeah.
or
Hmm.
doesn't depend, like I'm not a doctor.
Mm,
I'm not working in a hospital or something,
hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Not even hospitality. Like let's say like I have a risk of my restaurant giving sickness to other people. I don't have that
Yeah.
problem. I'm
No,
a
no.
marketer.
Yeah, but
So
it really does put stuff into perspective. Like, I remember years ago when I was working for a massive company in London, and it seemed as if like it was a corporate world, and it seemed as if you made one mistake, it was like the end of the world, and everything was gonna go. And then when you obviously work for much nicer companies, you like it really puts it into perspective that this is marketing. It's just marketing at the end of the day.
exactly.
You can, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like we want to succeed, but you can also make mistakes as well.
Hmm, hmm. Yes.
And so, since you've started your CMO, aspiring CMO podcast, what have you learned what have you learned since doing it, and has there been anything that's surprised you?
Mhm. I've learned that it's podcasting is a great way to grow a personal brand.
Hmm.
Although the numbers don't speak that way, but people will tell you, like,
Mm.
"Oh, I heard that my friend was on your podcast."
I actually saw there was a girl that was on your podcast the other day, and I didn't even realize that you were even in touch. I was like, oh, I like met that person before.
These are like sometimes like, I feel like my listener numbers are not translating how much feedback I get.
Mm,
Maybe because it's like been spread it out to so many channels. But anyway, like uh, I think like in our community, people know I have a podcast, which is really cool. I only started this half a year ago, 6 months,
mhm.
5 months ago, and I was a nobody. Like I'm still considering myself very little, but like people know about my podcast. They ask me when they're gonna be on the show.
They do, yeah. Yeah, especially in like the SEO community, I think as well, because you are like I think you are like an established like face in SEO, I think.
Wow, thank you. Holy crap. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Like I just genuinely want to learn and obviously most of the successful people I know are SEOs, so most of the SEOs are on my show, but it's really just for me to learn from them because I learn from their materials already, but like getting in touch with them is just like a next level learning, like on
Yeah.
steroids. So I really recommend anybody to do it. I
Mhm.
wish I started this like 2 years earlier,
Mm.
but yeah, actually I don't regret anything. It's a great
It's
journey.
actually
Yeah,
almost like a free coaching program, right?
yeah. It's your free
You get
MBA program.
the best experts everywhere.
Yeah.
And has there been any sort of like marketing myths that you've encountered that you can like debunk? Like, is there something that everyone thinks you have to do, everyone thinks you can't do, but actually you can or you can't?
I'm gonna answer this question, but please let me just charge my laptop. Wait.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I have the worst
Yeah,
case.
I just saw your head pop up.
Uh, so this is my. This is it charging? No. Huh. Okay.
Yay! uh,
Any marketing myths, right?
yeah.
I think it's more like a career myth that I would like to debunk is that you need certifications and degrees to
Mm-hmm.
succeed. Most of people that I have on my show and made like, seven figures, that they don't, some of them didn't even graduate from high school. Some of them dropped out of college, and some of them don't even use their college degree.
No, I mean, I definitely don't use my college degree.
Yeah, so it's like a massive debunk, and if somebody can save like 20 to 50 thousand dollars,
hmm
that's great, right? So like, yeah,
Yeah, I think that actually is a huge one because there's so many people. I mean, I thought you had to have a degree in marketing to be in marketing,
yeah,
and I always thought that when I was younger. But yeah, everyone like I would say most of the successful people I've met, like in the last year, I'd say barely any of them have degrees. Like they've all just worked from the experience and just done their own thing.
yeah.
What would kind of be your advice to someone who does want to get into marketing then, and what would their first move be?
Mm, find your hobby and start a channel on either any social media channel.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my first time learning marketing was obviously from the Toastmasters group.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's something I did for free for a extended time. If I wasn't social and go to Toastmasters, I would have just done like a fitness page, which
Mm-hmm.
I also did. So if somebody scrolls on my personal Instagram a little bit down, you can see me working out. That was my attempt to learn marketing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like I didn't want, I was like, I like working out, I do it every day, so I'll make a content out of it. And it's so much easier to do, make a piece of content on something that you do every single day.
Yeah, 100%, because it's almost like effortless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um so it's like if you want to start into marketing, you have to do some sort of content stuff, because
hmm
even if you end up, running advertisement, you need something to run ads to,
Yeah.
or you need something to run ads with. So
hmm
everything comes down to some sort of content.
Yeah, and in many ways, if you end up applying for a job, then it's your portfolio. It's
Exactly.
what you're building, and it's something you enjoy at the same time.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you are looking forward to in the future? Any future projects that you're working on? I know the SEO Mastery Summit is coming up next year. So yeah, anything coming up in 2024?
I'm super, super excited for the SEO Mastery Summit. Like this time, first of all, I have a lot more friends in SEO now. So I think the first time we organized it, I knew some of the speakers through DC. I met them once and I said hi to them, and that was it. But now I've been, hanging out with them, and they have, some of them been on my show. So I really look forward to like have this big party for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel more connected to them, right? And they also feel more connected to me. They
Yeah.
and I hope that they know if somebody needs some help in Vietnam, and like
Mhm.
where to go, or like best tips in Saigon. Like I'm always there. I'm super open. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
nice. Yeah. And how many people is it? How many tickets is it for this event? It's a big
400.
400. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're organizing the whole thing?
and Mads and
Yeah.
Dave.
Oh,
So three of us, and I think 4 or 5 of us in total. Five.
nice. Okay, that's awesome. Nice. And that is in March?
It's in April 7 to 11.
Okay, and you can get tickets by how?
On the SEOmasterysummit.com. Tickets on sale now, and we increase the prices every month. So the sooner you buy, the cheaper it is.
That's very handy. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you're going to be in Ho Chi Minh then for a while there, because that's
yeah,
actually that is kind of where you live normally, isn't it?
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
hmm
Hmm.
Nice. And so we're coming towards the end now, closing on the hour. So if anyone wants to contact you, how can they get in touch?
Amazing. Thank you. Oh, so you guys can find the Aspiring CMO on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. I have a website called theaspiringcmo.com, and I am Annie Huang. So if you type in my name with the marketing, so Annie Huang Marketing, you can also find me like that.
Amazing. And we'll add those links in the comment section as well for everyone. So it's just easy to find as well. Thank you so much, Annie. I've learned so much. I hope everyone else watching has also like taken so many key things away from this. And to just know that for everyone listening and watching that you can do anything. Like you can, there's always a way into this career and there's always a way into entrepreneurship if you have the willpower, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Thank you so much for having me,
Yeah, thank you.
Nicole.
Thank you so much. And I hope you have a really lovely day. And thank
You
you everyone
too.
else for watching.
Thank
So
you.
goodbye and catch up with you soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.